OMTimes Radio. The following is an encore presentation. Welcome to Joy of Business with host Simone Milasas, a dynamic business leader with a difference. Simone has founded and operated many businesses from a young age and has always done business differently. Today, Simone is the worldwide coordinator of Access Consciousness and travels the world presenting Joy of Business programs using access tools and empowering people to know that they can create business in a different way and make money doing it. Simone Milasas, weekly on OMTimes Radio.
Hi everybody, welcome to Joy of Business radio show here on OMTimes. You're with Simone Milasas. We are in Copenhagen, Denmark at the moment. It's a beautiful sunny day. And the show title for today is Business in Asia, which I'm super excited about because I've done lots of business in Asia. And I happen to have two Joy Business facilitators on the show with me today. And guess what? They live in Asia. So we've got our guests are Aditi and Pratima. So welcome.
Hi, Simone.
That was nice in unison. Excellent. So let me tell you a little bit about Aditi Surti. She's an internationally known Access Consciousness Joy Business and Talk to the Entity certified facilitator. She was one of the first 6 people in India to start facilitating Access Bars classes in late 2012. And now we are, I don't know how many people we have in India doing Access at the moment, but there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And we have a lot of certified facilitators and bars facilitators, and it is expanding big time. So she travels across the country transforming and empowering people with workshops on various topics, as well as teaching modalities to create practitioners. So, and we've got, so you're actually, let me start with this, Aditi. Are you born and bred in Mumbai? I mean, I know that's where you currently live.
No, I was born in Mumbai, but I lived in the Middle East for a significant period of time. So my entire schooling was there. And then I had a short stint in the US and then now in India.
So whereabouts in the Middle East did you live?
I lived in Kuwait.
In Kuwait. Wow. Okay, good. So we've got some great stories to tell, especially being, I don't really like doing this woman, man thing. It's because as far as I'm concerned, as far as Access Consciousness is concerned, we're infinite beings. And it's so, what if, yes, you just happen to choose a woman's body this lifetime? And in saying that, this reality has a lot of points of view and has a lot of judgments about what that is, especially in the areas like the Middle East and, in a lot of Asian countries. I personally did a lot of business in India, and I have some very funny stories to tell, which I'm sure we'll get to some of them. And first of all, though, I want to talk about Pratima. She's the founder and director of Revive, which is a holistic center in Singapore. Spirituality and healing always interested Pratima, yet she began her career path by getting an engineering degree. How cool is that? MBA, and then working in the IT industry for 5+ years. So Pratima has had an amazing journey of transformation from being a business analyst to devoting time to dwell deeper into her study of alternate medicine and spirituality. So having earned several degrees and certifications, she then decided to utilize the opportunity to set up her own venture. So Pratima's vision with Revive is to provide various types of alternate healing methods under one roof in a friendly, calm environment where people feel welcomed and at ease. So you actually are from India, born in India, is that correct, Pratima?
Yeah, I was born in Bangalore in India, and I lived 28 years of my life in India.
And now you live in Singapore?
Yeah, I was in Dubai for about a year, and then I moved to Singapore.
Wow. I was just in, excuse me, I still have a Dubai cough. I was just in Dubai recently, and it was during Ramadan, which, as you guys know about Ramadan, and it's a Muslim time of fasting, and it goes for not just a weekend. Like if you're out there and you're listening to the show and you think, yes, I fasted for 5 days. This is 30 days of fasting. And it's the strangest energy being there because from sun up, and the sun comes up at 4 o'clock in the morning or something, until sundown, you cannot eat, you cannot drink. So you can't even have a glass of water. That's the thing that was I found so hard to get used to is that they couldn't even have any water. Like I drink, liters and liters of water a day. So that was just such a total spin on my reality that they couldn't. I get the fasting, the food thing and stuff, but having no water, that was amazing. I mean, I got in trouble once for carrying a cup of coffee from the cafeteria to my hotel room. I was like, really?
Wow.
And they're like, yes, it's Ramadan. But I've been in Turkey during Ramadan, and that was completely different. But it seemed like, I know that there's like something like 12% Emiratis, which are the locals in Dubai, and that's it. Yeah. But they run the country as from like the Muslim religion. So it was really interesting to me. We were in Dubai for 2 days, I think, before Ramadan hit, and I was driving around going, I love Dubai. Dubai is great. This is awesome. This is fantastic. And Ramadan hit, and I went, oh my goodness. It was such a different energy. So, and I dreamt all night about being thirsty. I was like, who does this belong to is a great access consciousness tool that became very obvious when I was in Dubai. And who does this belong to? So for every thought, feeling, and emotion, use it. It's like, and every thought, feeling, emotion I had in Dubai, I was like, wow, who does this belong to? Who's thirsty? So hundreds and hundreds of people, or thousands who are thirsty.
Well, actually, Simone, you're not even allowed to swallow your own spit.
Wow. I heard that you weren't allowed to put lip gloss on either, because nothing can pass your lips. So not even swallowing your own spit. It was so hot there, though. That's the thing that was amazing to me, because it was like 45 degrees Celsius. So I think that's, almost 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And it was so hot, and they couldn't drink water or couldn't, now I know, swallow their own spit. So.
And it's interesting, Simone, that this was in the city, and I was flying Qatar Airways while coming to Copenhagen. And while I was transiting Doha Airport, we were told that we cannot drink water or eat in the public places at airport as well. So that was interesting. Yeah. No, you could see that, and no loud music. It's very interesting. But it's interesting. So let's talk about this, because there's some, let's touch a sensitive topic while we can. Religions in the Asian countries, and how, I see a lot of the original reason, as I heard, I could be wrong, for the fasting was sort of like this 30 days of cleansing. And the way I see it, the way they describe it, is sort of like becoming more sort of in tune with yourself, in tune with your body, and at, the higher self sort of thing. It's like the cleansing of everything. But it seems to me like everything, I grew up a Christian, and it's like, I think Jesus was a really cool guy. And it's like, if you listen and look at the things that he did, or how he spoke, or how he had no judgment and included everyone, I get that. And then it's like, then the Christian religion sort of started to take it out of context and create all these rules and regulations, and the thing that I see that I don't particularly like is that the religions start to tell you you're wrong if you are not doing as you are told. So it's like the wrongness that is projected at you. I know in the Christian religion, if I didn't go to church, or, if I didn't, fast during Lent, or, not eat meat, or only eat fish on Fridays, and all of these rules and regulations, whereas Jesus never said that. He was like, share everything, like be kind, And it's like, and I see that happening with things like Ramadan. And it was like, it didn't feel to me when I was there like it was this place of a kindness to the bodies, a kindness to each other. And it's like, so, I don't know if we should go down this road, but we've got a couple of minutes here before the next break. And it's like, how do you guys see the religions in your countries, with Singapore and India? It's actually, Simone, I just wanted to
go for it.
Point out, when you mentioned about Ramadan, right, when I was living in Dubai, I remember how Ramadan actually affects even the business aspect, because my husband worked in a bank while in Dubai, and during Ramadan, all his colleagues would actually take like a 3-hour break, during lunch they would go nap, while he was not allowed to do that because he was not a Muslim and he was not fasting. So that would create a lot of frustration and disappointment among others. Yeah.
Well, also I had a PR agent, fabulous PR agent while I was there in Dubai. Excuse me. And he was saying that their normal hours are 9 till 6. And he said, but during Ramadan they work 9 till 4, and they have to go home. And he said it's almost considered against the law. Like you can be arrested if you are working in an office space after 4 o'clock. So he liked it because he got off early.
Well, he didn't my husband didn't get off early because he wasn't fasting.
Right. Okay. So, and they were working well, that's what he said. It depends on the business because they were working in a bank.
Yeah, it depends on the business. Absolutely. Yeah.
So how else do you see religion affecting business in Asia?
Well, in India, it's so interesting because business and religion almost go hand in hand. Like if a person wants to open a shop, for example, there would be a whole lot of rituals that would happen before it. They would look up, astrology and look at the exact time and date, which is known as Shubh. Shubh in Hindi is the appropriate or the most conducive time in which to open your business. And then there would be a whole ritual. There would be the flowers. There would be a priest called in. There would be all of that. And they wouldn't begin their business through question and choice. They would begin their business based on how religion would say that it has to be. In the sense not that, you would be guilty if you didn't follow it, but this is the system, You have to look at the right time. You have to call in the priest. You have to do all these rituals. And then it is considered and concluded that your business would go well.
That's interesting too, because that's almost like a business within a business. If you're running a business shop, setting up the rituals and selling the flowers and, and the incense or whatever, which is, if you break that down though, it's like, I get the difference of, like you said, if you did that from question and choice, there are moments when you go, okay, so truth is now the time to open this business. Or would it be instead of rushing it? Because I see so many people when they have ideas and stuff, they force a business into being instituted rather than going, okay, so is now the time? So there is like an element of, it's like a truth for the lie attached with that. Like the fact of going, okay, so let's look at when is appropriate to open a business, but not doing it based on ritual, not doing it based on, astrology. It's like doing it based on, as you said, question and choice. And it's like, I think that's brilliant.
So there's another thing to that actually, is that a lot of people, it's more like
let's go. We're going to go to a break.
Okay.
We're going to go to a break. I didn't realize that. So let's go to a break and we'll come back and we'll hear more from Aditi and Pratima and Simone with Joy of Business. Thanks for joining us here on OMTimes.
What if business could be fun? What if business is the adventure of living? What are you choosing? Where do you do business that makes it easier, more fun, or more joyful for you? We'd love to see where you do business. Connect with us on Instagram at Joy of Business or Twitter at Joy of Business. And share your pictures with hashtags BusinessDoneWhere and Joy of Business. Let's change the world with business. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM-FM.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Joy of Business. You're with Simone Milasas, your host, and you're also joined with two fabulous ladies, Pratima and Aditi. So they're actually in Copenhagen at the moment. We're not in the same place. We're in different hotel rooms because we're here doing some more of the advanced access consciousness classes. But they, at the moment, Pratima lives in Singapore and Aditi lives in India. Now, we left to the break with Aditi talking about something. So where did we left off? What did you want to say there, Aditi?
We were talking about how question and choice would actually be like a great way to start a business, to figure out the time when you'd like to start it, etc. But what religion actually does in India is it determines for every person a standard template of how it goes. So, you know, what I'm looking at also in like the Joy Business classes that I'm going to be conducting very soon is to take a look at this area as to how we're determined by these fixed templates of how business should be done, how should it be started, when should it be started. And, you know, now that we're talking about religion, well, you know, that's a new element.
Exactly. But it is interesting because it's like if you insert, I mean, because people get it. When you talk about these tools and it's like they know that there's something about these tools that, you know, create more ease in their lives. So what if we could change the world being Joy Business Facilitators? I love that.
Yeah.
So let me start by asking you guys. Yeah, go ahead, Pratima.
Yeah, just wanted to add something quick to that, what I've noticed all over Asia is certain people from certain religions and backgrounds are seen to do certain types of business, you know, certain professions. So what if the professions are not limited to the religion that you follow and anyone could choose anything based on what's fun for them?
That sounds like a wonderful, wonderful world. What would it take for that to come to fruition? Everything it doesn't allow that to show up. Let's destroy and uncreate it. Right now I'm good about pock and pot all nine shorts, boys and beyond. So, look, I see that business is definitely done very different in Asia. I mean, when I used to go to India, I used to import from India, Thailand, and Nepal. And it was interesting because when I went to these three places, I'd fly to Thailand first, and I'd do business there, and I'd sort of like, I'd pick out, I used to buy lots of jewelry there, some clothing. And I'd pick out the stuff. Then I'd fly to India. I'd work with my suppliers there and I'd, you know, get samples made up. And then I'd fly to Nepal. And I would usually stay in Nepal the longest. I really liked going, you know, trekking and hanging out in Kathmandu, etc. I don't know, Kathmandu is a very different place now. But anyway, that's another story. Hanging out in Kathmandu. And then I'd go back to India and back to Thailand. So, and I'd pick things up and I'd get a container of stuff and etc. But I really noticed the difference in the energy. Like for me, the friendliest I was in Thailand, being a woman, the friendliest I was in Thailand, I got what I wanted. I had to get so angry and yell at people in India to get what I wanted. They hated doing business with a woman, but I was the one with all the cash in my hand, so they sort of had to acknowledge that. I remember taking a boyfriend of mine once, and they'd done business with me for ages, and then they directed all their questions at him. And I was like, seriously? This is what you're doing? And he would look at me and go, oh, what did you want, Simone, in those pets? And I was like, I mean, we were laughing. It was just like, this is amazing. I've been here so many times. But he then became the priority. And then I'd go to Nepal, and it was sort of more, I'd say it was probably the easiest place for me in a lot of ways. It was a very different energy. I did have some really cool men who were suppliers. That didn't seem to have any of those fixed points of view. I guess they were very humanoid. But I did notice that in India it was one of the hardest places. Like, and they'd have me over for dinner or something, and all the women would be in the kitchen cooking and stuff, and I'd be the one out with the men because I was the one with the money and stuff. And it was such a strange thing to have to, deal with.
How far back was this, Simone? How far back was this?
20 years ago.
Wow, a lot has changed.
Okay, cool. So let me know, how have things changed? Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I remember they slaughtered a goat for me one day. This was when I was a vegetarian as well. This is actually in Nepal, when they slaughtered a goat for me as an honouring, and then cut the goat's neck, hung it up so all the blood ran out, etc. And then they gave me this bowl of goat's fat and warm milk, and it was considered quite, an honour to get the goat's fat and all that. And I was a vegetarian for 8 years during that time, and I was sitting there going, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to drink this milk, aren't I, and eat this fat. So I did.
Oh.
It was just like, oh, this was not fun.
Oh, God.
And a friend of mine videoed the whole thing, so I do have it on an old VHS, somewhere. So tell me, what do you guys see as the difference of doing business in Asia now?
Well, at least in India as of now, yes, to a great extent, if you are a woman with money or you look well-dressed and you look educated, then they would listen to you. There would still always be some men who would not want to still deal with a woman. But my sense is that that's anywhere in the world, not just restricted to India. So India is a lot more open to women who do business now. And they are seen as, oh, she's very modern, she's very independent. And then they choose whether they want to deal with her or not. So it's become interesting, and many men are now willing to sort of play and, be like you said, a supplier or wherever they fit in with whatever business it is that you want to create. It's definitely far more open. We have to deal with a few other things though. It's not really about the male-female divide that much anymore. We have to deal with a lot of the, the red tape, the fact that it takes extremely long to get certain things, or like in your experience, Simone, you remember you said you wanted a pair of yellow pajamas and they would get you another color, assuming that you would like that one if this one wasn't there. So you have to deal with that kind of stuff at times. And it can be a little bit annoying, but it's also fun. Sometimes I'm willing to go with somebody else's awareness. So, yeah, that's how it is.
Well, you had to really function from awareness as well. Yeah, because I used to pre-order samples and stuff, and I would have customers in Australia that would order them. This is just clothing. And we'd have like a certain color blue or something pants, and then if they didn't have the blue, they would just put in another color. And I'm like, I can't sell bright yellow to people who wanted blue. So it was very funny. And one day, actually, I had all these dresses on order, and I wanted half of them with long sleeve and half with short sleeve. This is the funniest story that ever happened. And I got the shipment that came in, and all the dresses had one long sleeve and one short sleeve. But I get that they were just like, oh, there's some weird, weird-ass sort of fashion thing happening over there in Australia, and they've done the dresses literally like I asked. So I was like, okay.
I think it's more about, for them, they come with a point of view that I need to make a sale, and it's not about, okay, what does the customer or the client desire, but it's like, what can I sell here?
I'm so glad you said that, because when I used to do business in India, as you know, if anyone's ever been there, you walk down the streets and it's like, it's not just like, oh, there's one shop with bedspreads. There's a whole street with bedspreads, so you can get the same thing in most of the shops. So I used to call it the vibe. Like I'd walk down and go, okay, so I want to do business with someone who's actually willing to create a future with me, who's not just looking at how much money they're going to get today. And it's like, can they create a future? And I would talk to them all, and it's like some of them just like nothing. They weren't willing to sort of look into the future and see the relationship that we could create. And the ones that I did end up doing business with always were looking at what was next, like what else we could create, which I didn't find that common. And I don't know if that's not a common thread in India now, or if it's changed or it's different. Or do you see that as more prevalent of how they do business?
It's still the same. It's actually still the same. You will still find a street full of people selling either cosmetics or the same wooden furniture. So, and also what I've noticed is I've traveled to different parts of the world, but it's only in Asia, so it's either Middle East or India or Southeast Asia, where I see people, these small businesses on the streets, pushing energy to get people into their store. And I have never seen that in Australia or Europe or anywhere else in the world. And for me personally, it acts as a turn off. My barriers automatically go up when people are trying to pull me into the shop rather than, me choosing. So even if there are like 10 stores selling the same thing, for me, I choose it based on, okay, so who is actually more fun here that I can go to and do business with?
I like it. So that's asking questions. I wonder if, you guys have both got classes coming up of the Joy Business one-day class, Business Done Different 101. And one of the tools in the book that you'll be talking about is the energy pools. And it's like, I wonder if we could actually change what that would look like with businesses in Asia. And the tool is, and it's like, instead of pushing energy, as Pratima was mentioning, it's like if you're in any type of sales or anything like that, it's like if you pull energy from people, from clients, from people walking into the shop, and it's like you pull the energy to you and through you, and it's like once you feel like that energy flow, and it's like you ask it to flow between the people, and it's like that's when you create like as Pratima was just saying, it's like someone who is sort of like you're happy to deal with. They're like, you know, friendly, etc. And it's like that's how you create that sort of relationship. Pushing energy, as you know, if you've ever been, you know, a teenager and someone likes you and they start pushing energy at you, it's got this energy of need, and it's like it's not that appealing. So if you actually pull massive amounts of energy from all your current clients and all your future clients and pull it to you, through you, and ask for that energy to keep flowing between you and see if that creates a difference. So both of you guys have got classes coming up. I think you've got, Aditi, you've got ones in New Delhi, and where is that other place? In Mumbai?
New Delhi, in Ahmedabad, and in Mumbai.
I love the names in India. And you've got some stuff happening in Hong Kong and Japan, Pratima. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I love it. So just before we go to the next break, and it's like you can find both of these guys on accessconsciousness.com. If you look up their names, it's Aditi Surti and Pratima, I'm going to butcher your last name. Nagaraj, Nagaraj. But you can, So you can also go to accessjoyofbusiness.com/facilitators, and you will find their pictures and their details up there too, and the classes. So, or you can just go into accessconsciousness.com and look for the class of Joy of Business, Business Done Different 101, and find those as well. And you've both got different websites too. What are your own websites that people can find you at?
Mine is aditisurti.com.
And
Easy.
mine would be pratimanagaraj.com.
Easy, if you can spell the names.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if you've got anyone out there who's listening too, and if you have any questions, we do have an email that you can email us at omtimes@accessjoyofbusiness.com. So you can email us about questions about the people on the show or future shows that you would like to see, any, you know, topics or guests or anything like that you'd like to see on there. So that's omtimes@accessjoyofbusiness.com. So I know that we're going to be heading off to a break really soon. That music's going to start playing. I'm just not exactly sure when. But one of the things that I'd love to talk to you guys about when we come back is the corporate world in Asia. And it's like, what's the work culture like in the corporate world in Asia? So when we come back, we'll be talking to Aditi and Pratima about that in Asia. Thanks for joining us here on OMTimes, the Joy of Business.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
The Conscious Parenting Radio Show provides inspiration and resources for loving, empowering, and respecting your children and yourself. Join me, Timothy, every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time as we consciously explore proven ways of living together in happiness, health, and harmony.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Would your business and life like to be bigger? Would you like to have more fun with everything you do? Simone Milasas travels the world facilitating Joy of Business seminars. These classes are for you if you would like to create more money and joy, expand your business, and work smarter, not harder. Simone will be visiting the U.S. and facilitating the Joy of Business classes this summer in Houston, Texas. Join her live or watch the online seminar from the comfort of your own home. Go to www.accessjoyofbusiness.com/Houston to register and for more information.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us here on Joy of Business. We're talking about business in Asia, and I'm with Pratima and Aditi. And before we left off to the break, I was mentioning that we wanted to talk about the corporate world with Asia and business and the work culture and how different that is. So what can you guys talk about with that? And what tools? You know, I'd love to ask you, it's like, what is it like and what tools could you offer for people to actually change it?
So I have worked in corporate world in India for about 5+ years, and what I have seen, and I've also observed a lot of the culture here in Southeast Asia when I've been living here for a few years. Huge part of the culture is about putting in lots of time. It's like there's really no work and life balance, and people think the more time you sit in office, you get better, you get better visibility, and your bosses will promote you, and you get a better pay raise and stuff. So that's something that I've seen only in Asian work culture. Whereas if you look at Europe or anywhere else in the world, I see that people keep their work and life separate. They actually like to go out of office, spend time with family, and it's not about just sitting in office and doing work. So that's a huge difference that I have observed personally.
Yeah. That's actually
I know nothing about that. We work all the time. And it's like, but you know what, my partner and I, we travel, as you guys know, travel all around the world with access consciousness classes, and then we wake up in the morning, open our computer, and it's like, but we don't separate it, but we also still have a life. And it's like,
but Simone, what's the difference there is you have fun, but here the fun and joy is missing.
Yeah, you have joy, exactly. So a lot of people in India don't have that kind of joy with their work. Many of them sort of like, being like an engineer or something is very, very common. It's almost like a prerequisite to getting a job. And once they do get a job, you'll find very, very often that what people started off doing, they aren't doing what they would have loved to do or are trained to do when you meet them 10 years later. Somewhere they get into the corporate world, and very, very often they discover, hey, this is not what I signed up for. This is very wrong. I'm miserable with this. They either stick with it and they just kind of die out, or they suddenly decide that, hey, I'd like to get out and really do something that gives me joy. And then they leave and they do that. Like, for example, my own story, I'm trained in hotel management. I'm not doing anything connected to that.
Right.
And that's very, very common in India, because a lot of times there's like almost a choiceless universe that's created in families where, parents said that I have to train, I have to get educated in this, this, and this. So I go and do that. And then I choose jobs, which I obviously don't like. And then I put in long hours, which I really don't like. And then I don't have a life. And they have to separate their life from their work because they don't enjoy their work. And they come from the assumption that I would enjoy my life. So it becomes separate. With people like you and maybe me and Pratima, it's all the same. We have joy in all of it.
And it's interesting that when I was working, I would put in actually about 12 to 14 hours for at office, and I was miserable. I used to wait for weekends, and I had the worst Monday morning blues. I hated going to work. But now I actually work even more. I work like almost all the time, most of the days, but there's so much fun and joy here. And I look forward to waking up every morning and creating something. So it's really not about the amount of time that you put in. It's how much fun and joy you get out of what you're creating.
And that's corporate India for you.
Yeah, that's corporate India for you. So do you think there's any tools or anything like that Joy Business can offer them to change it?
I think one of the very simple things that people could ask themselves is like, if I choose this, what's my life going to be like in the next 5 years, 10 years, 50 years? And is that the kind of life that I truly desire having? And is there something else that I could choose here to create the kind of life that I really desire having? And these are really very simple questions that people could just ask to sort of have a choice, because there's just so much choicelessness for them right now.
It's interesting. Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook, and it's like if you've never listened to her, it's like Google her. She did a great TED Talk And one of the things that she mentions on there too, she talks about being a woman in business. But when she first started working with Facebook, when she has kids, she has a family, etc., she left work at 5 o'clock. And she said the first day she left work at 5 o'clock, she was like, oh, wow, what's this going to create? But she knew she also had to create her life, that it wasn't just about work. And if you look at something like Facebook, I mean, I'm sure they're in the office till, you know, doing those 12, 14-hour days, if not more. And it's like, but she actually had the courage to go, okay, I'm leaving at 5 o'clock. I've done my day's work and leave. And it's like, I totally take my hat off to her for doing that. And it's like, what if there was a place where you could change the culture by being you, by choosing to create your life, choosing to create your business, choosing to contribute to all of it. But it's like, I mean, as we all know, it's like we've seen people who do these really long hours. And I know you guys do the same thing. It's like, I work really long hours, but I'm also going for a bike ride today and hopefully a swim if it gets a little bit hotter. So, and I've got meetings this morning and I've got interviews and I've got, you know, my last meeting I think is at 10:30 tonight. But I'm okay with that. And it's like, I still create my life. And it's like putting all those hours in and not actually doing anything. I remember I used to work in offices and you just weren't present. I was like, I just don't want to be in here. Now I love the fact that I can have choice. Like if I'm like that, it's like, okay, I'll take the dog to the beach for a walk or, you know, do something different. And it's like, so what if you were totally present in every moment of every day? It's like, would you earn more money? Would you create more? It's like, so start to play with that and look at that and be willing to actually choose for you. And everything it doesn't allow you to choose for you, where you destroy and uncreate it. Times a gazillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond.
And you know, Simone, there are two things that I remember from attending your classes that really changed the way I look at my business. One of it was when you said, what if you don't make your business your life, but you make your life your business? So then you are actually spending your entire life looking at what's fun for you and what gives you joy. And also, what if nothing is a necessity? And if you're actually creating anything from necessity, like even when you wake up in the morning, is waking up a necessity or is it my choice? So that's a question I actually ask myself till today in every choice that I make. And if I realize I'm functioning from a necessity, I ask, what can I do different to make this a choice instead? And that changes the energy of it.
Yeah, look, I love that because even the other day I was told that I was going to this restaurant for lunch, which is so funny. It's like, it's voted the best restaurant in the world. It's called Noma. It's in Copenhagen. It's wonderful. But I was told that lunch was booked and I was going. I didn't want to go because I was told, and it was like this necessity to go. It was so funny. And as soon as Jonas, a friend of mine who's been a regular on OMTimes, he Skyped me and he said, look, because I kept trying to get out of going, and he said, if you don't want to go, don't go. Like, why would you go to something if you didn't want to go? As soon as he Skyped me that, I went, oh, I think I'd like to go now. And I went, wow, I'm such a stubborn humanoid. It's incredible. I now have choice. And it's like, but that's the thing. Yeah. It's like, if you don't, and you can use that in the workplace, if you're not giving your business partners or your employees or employers or anyone, if you're not giving them choice, and it's like, then they feel like work is a necessity. And it's like, from necessity, you sort of do that thing of hands on hips, stomping the feet, going, no, I don't want to do that. And it's like, what could you do and what could you be to empower people to actually have choice? And it's like, we all much prefer to choose ourselves rather than be told what to do. So I was just very humoured by my stubbornness of being a total humanoid.
Yeah, this also actually applies very interestingly to corporate India, like for people who are heads of the companies, when they hire people, you know, people are not chosen or hired currently because they want to hire. It's because they don't want to hire the person. They're actually looking for reasons why not to hire them. And what
do you mean by that?
It's almost like, you know, I'm going to look for a reason why I don't want you here. Wow. You know, looking for the wrongness in everything instead of asking, how can this person contribute to my business? How can this person contribute to my company? If I hire this person, what would my company be like in the next 10 years, 50 years, 100 years? And also asking the person, what would you like to do over here? This is all that we would like to get done. what amongst this is fun for you? Hi,
okay, so as you're
done this way.
yeah, as you're talking about this, I am perceiving the very large job that we all have as Joy Business Facilitators to change the way that people function in business. And the thing is, though, too, it's not that hard. Like, the tools that we offer are about, as Aditi mentioned earlier, about choice, about question, about contribution. It's possibilities that are available. And it's like, how many possibilities are available have we all ignored based on having to get it right or functioning from, you know, trying to find the wrongness rather than what if you found the gratitude? And so, and everything that is and everywhere that you're trying to function from the solidity and the hardness, like the hardwired, you know, heads of business rather than the freedom and the choice and the joy of business where you destroy and uncreate it. Time to God, darling, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And if you want to find out more about that clearing statement, you can go to my website, accessjoybusiness.com, or even go to, there's another website called theclearingstatement.com. So it changes everything. So, Aditi, you were mentioning to me about we've just been in a class with Gary Douglas and Dane here, which was fabulous. It was the biggest class we've ever done in Access. We had 300 people, you know, online and 300 people in the class. It was amazing. And one of the things that he was speaking about was innovation. Now, tell me about innovation in Asia and India.
Innovation in India actually has an interesting word. It's called jugaad. So it's sort of like a place where you are compelled to do something different and new in order to survive. And this
in order to survive.
In order to survive. Because, you know, somebody asked me the other day, Shannon asked me, in fact, the other day, she said, you know, in the US, one of the ways in which you sort of show up in this reality is I'm successful. You know, that's like I've arrived, this is it. Oh, we're going for a break soon. Okay, so, but in India, it's like, oh, what can I do now that can make me survive?
Okay, and we'll hear more about that after the break.
Yeah.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Milasas, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hi, I'm Katrina Kavanagh, host of the I Am Wisdom radio show. I Am Wisdom is about the connection between mind work and energy work, spirituality and living a wonderful life. Looking forward to sharing each Sunday 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with you.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hi everybody, welcome back. That was pretty funny. I literally was getting so excited about talking to Pratima and Aditi that I forgot that we had a break. So, sorry about that. I was like, this is so interesting. So, yeah, continue Aditi, because I love that you're talking about, it's like, Shannon was saying in the US, and it's like looking at, success is one of the ways that you sort of, I guess, put yourself into this reality or make yourself, significant. So continue.
And in India, survival. So with over a billion population, you've got to find a space for yourself.
Huh. So what does that look like? So what is
that looks like either joining your father's business. Obviously, that's one option. But for a lot of humanoids, it's like, I can't do that. I have to do something different, and I have to do something that's fun for me. And that, where they then come up with products and services I don't find anywhere else in the world. There are amazing innovations. It could be something like how to convert something into electricity, or it could be anything. It could be either something related to the green movement, or something that just makes your life easier. And that's called Jugaad in India. And these are a bunch of younger people who don't want to do their dad's business or don't want to do their family's business, but they definitely want to have a business, and they are asking the right questions. And they are creating stuff that has never been created before. Now, at certain times, what happens is it's a question of sustainability. So that's where a lot of questions would come in. And if they only stopped judging what they create, it would probably reach out to a lot more people. So like one of the questions that I have a few friends who do this, and it's always something I shared with them. One of my favorite tools of access is living in 10-second increments, because that doesn't somehow ever allow me to judge what I've created, always looking at what else is possible and always having choice. And they were completely floored with that. They couldn't fathom that something that easy could just create so much for them.
That's the thing. These tools are incredibly easy. It's like it's not about making it hard. So, interesting. Huh. So I love the innovative thing. Do you think that's, I'm so glad also that you also asked me how long ago, all this stuff that I did business in India was, because somewhere I think I had become stuck in a point of view that India was still like that. So I'm really grateful for that comment because it felt like yesterday to me, but it's like, so, which is interesting too, because it's like, if we don't have the willingness to have things change, then it's so much harder for them to change. And that's the sort of thing I see you talking about too, because it's like, the family business in India or in Asia, it's like, that's where you go. Like that's even in all cultures too. Like my dad was an accountant and, he really desired my brother to take over the accountancy firm. So my brother studied accountancy and worked there for a while. And I remember my father saying, I realized that he was never going to be an accountant when we got the papers in the morning. My dad would go to the Financial Review and my brother would flick to the back of the sports pages. He was like, okay, I get it. But he had choice. And it's like, if you're not willing to actually allow things to change, as Aditi was saying, in 10-second increments. So it's sort of like everywhere that I hold on to my point of view, that's what India is like, then that somewhere energetically keeps India stuck in that point of view. So right now, let's do a 1, 2, 3. I haven't done these on OMTimes before, but let's do a 1, 2, 3 to change all of the points of view, the projections and expectations of what business in Asia or anywhere in the world is actually like. So what we're about to do on 3, it's sort of like you gather the energy and you destroy it. You destroy and uncreate everything that is currently creating those points of view so that we have more choice in the world and in our lives, okay? So 1, 2, 3.
Nice.
Cool. How does it get any better than that? So wow. I'm grateful. And you've got to be willing to change yourself. Like me, like I just did. So I would like to ask Pratima, when I read your bio, it's funny because I read your bio, because I've known you guys for a while now, but you sort of don't go, so tell me about your past. What have you studied? We sort of function more with the present and what we're creating. You became an engineer, and it's like, and as Aditi was saying before, like a lot of people sort of study, engineering or hotel management or something like that. And it's like, did you do that from choice? Like, was that something that you desired?
Not really, because that was the in thing that time, and my parents wanted me to study, get a job, and start earning and becoming independent. So it was either choosing to be a doctor or an engineer, and being a doctor meant studying for longer time and not having a personal life. So my parents said this is easier, and I thought, okay, why not? And I just got into it. So it was really not a choice. It was just that everyone else around me was choosing that, and I just chose that. And which is why I didn't stick in my job for longer than 2 years. I got bored of it. I was like, no, I can't do this anymore. And that's when I realized my interest lies in business. So doing business always interested me, but coming from a family where I'm the only child and only daughter, actually, I was fed with a point of view that, women are not for business, so I never even thought of doing a business on my own. And that's when I actually did my master's in business, and I changed my profession. But I didn't really get what I was desiring for from the MBA that I did. And when I came to Joy of Business, I realized that's exactly what I was looking for with creating business, not what conventional business education gives.
So was that totally going against the grain, like of what your culture, parents, like being the only daughter, and it's like of what you were supposed to do? Like, was that harder to create that, or?
It wasn't hard, but yes, there were a lot of judgments, and people, like when I decided to quit my, really good career and a well-paying job after 5 or 6 years of working in the corporate world, people said to me that, hey, you're crazy. Why are you doing this? And that too, going into a profession where I'm, getting into alternative healing and coaching and stuff. So I was surrounded with people who were judging my choice. So it was hard for me, but what really got me going was trusting my awareness that, no, this is what is fun for me. For once in my life, I'm going to trust my awareness. I'm going to choose for me. So I'm so glad I did that.
I'm glad you did that too. It's funny, as you guys are talking about different aspects, so I grew up in Australia, and they're so similar. It's just more prominent or something, I think, in Asia, or maybe, I'm not sure what that is. But, I remember when I was working in the markets and selling, goods in the markets on Saturday and Sunday, and then I'd go to the beach during the week, and everyone who worked in the corporate world were like, when are you going to get a real job? And I was like, what do you mean a real job? I'm earning at least twice the amount of money that you're earning, and I've got way more time off, and it's like I get to go to the beach, and I had a great suntan. It was funny though, because that was their point of view, that it was like, when are you actually going to get serious about life? And what that means, getting a corporate job rather than actually choosing to create what I desire. So please, anyone out there listening, it's like, if you're not choosing to do what you desire, this is it. This is your life. This is not like a dry run. And it's like, and this is always my point of view with business. And it's like, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, why are you doing it? And it's like, there's so much more available. And, one of the tools we speak about too is if you have that place where you're doing a job and you don't really like it, and it's like, start a list of things that you love. And that could be anything. You could be like, I like baking cookies. I like driving. I like looking after kids. I like talking to people. I don't like talking to people. I like riding a bike, or everything that you enjoy doing that sort of brings you joy. Write it down and then look at the list and look at it and go, okay, so, which one of these could make me money? Because most of the times when you think something has no value, it's what you can make money from. So start to have a look at it and start to have a look at how you can make more money and how you can actually do something that brings you joy. I just realized I wanted to mention before we end the show too, I've actually got some classes in the US in Houston, Texas, at the end of August, 30th and 31st of August, and the 1st of September. So you can come meet me, join us live in Houston, Texas, or you can also jump on live stream. So anywhere in the world. What does that mean? Go to our website, accessjoybusiness.com, find the classes, and then we give you a login, etc. You can watch it from your computer. You can lie in bed with me and watch the classes if you want, or stay up late at night and have a glass of wine, whatever floats your boat. So, but that's the only class that I'll be doing this year in the US. So if you want to come and play with us, please do that. And if any of these tools make you sort of have that sense of lightness and that sense of joy. And it's like there is so much more that myself and all the Joy of Business facilitators have to offer. And it's like you don't have to be living and working a life that is not fun for you. Seriously. It's like it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah,
so,
and Simone, I
ladies,
just wanted to say I'm so grateful for the tools of Joy of Business because it literally changed the face of my business and how I look at business. So I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if not for the tools of Joy of Business. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
You're so welcome.
I'd like to add that there are a lot of people who have a lot of projections and judgments about Joy of Business. So I'd like to tell all of them that when I attended a taster of Joy of Business with Simone in Mumbai 2 or 3 years ago, that was what changed my whole reality with Joy of Business. And I was willing to change it, and I was willing to take a look at what else I can do with my life and my business. And then there's been no looking back. And it's been an amazing contribution. So if nothing else, at least get yourself to a Joy of Business taster.
And also, when you are actually creating joy, money always follows joy. And I can vouch for that because when I started following joy in my business, it changed from my income changed from a 4-figure to a 6+ figure income. And that's been pretty amazing that I never had to focus on money. When I focused on joy, money just started flowing in easily.
But that's a terrible thing, Pratima. I don't think anybody wants that.
But, when people hear that, they go, oh, yeah, right, sure, like money just shows up. But you know what? You've got to trust. You've got to follow this joy.
Yes, it does.
Because it does. It's amazing.
Yes.
And it's like if you're literally doing what you love and it's like money shows up. And we've got so many more tools that we talk about. And it's like, I was $187,000 in debt when I first met Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness. And it's like, you couldn't tell. And it's like there wasn't anything obvious and I wasn't, screaming poor. And it's like I wasn't, doing trauma and drama. But I did create all that debt and I changed it through Access